Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of FPL Fanzone. My name's Nick and in today's episode we are going to look at my final thoughts leading into game week 25. Of course it's another double game week with Liverpool and Aston Villa doubling this week. We're going to have a quick look at the fixture updates given the impact of the League Cup final and also the shock results in the FA Cup, which have given us some clarity over the blank in game week 34. On top of that, we're going to have a quick game of Would You Rather. There's a lot of options for people to move within their teams at the moment, so we're going to look at some of the options and compare those. And then finally, we're going to a quick look at my team and my options leading into the game week 25 deadline. As always, please don't forget to hit that like button if you're watching this video. Hit subscribe if you're new around here. This is my first season doing this content, and I thought if I could get to 50 subscribers by the end of the first season, I'd have been happy. I'm currently at 285 subscribers and now ever so close to hitting that 300 mark. Would love it if you could help out the channel, hitting that subscribe button if you're new around here. Also, don't forget to join the FPL Fanzone League. The code is on the screen. I'll leave the link in the comments below. It's free to enter. There's about 26 players confirmed so far. The winner will get a Premier League shirt of their choice. The current leader is Brandon, who only joined us 2 weeks ago. So there's still a chance for you to join if you're having a good season. Even if you're not, just feel to join the league and get in with the banter as well in the comments below. But once again, let's get started. So let's have a quick look then at the fixture updates. Now, game week 24 felt like an extremely long game week. Obviously, we just had the Liverpool-Everton replayed fixture finalised. But in between, of course, we had the EFL Cup semi-finals, which have now obviously impacted who's going to blank in game week 29. And, of course, the double for game week 25. But then also the FA Cup fourth round draw, and what that means for game week 34 as well. So let's have a quick look. So these are the game weeks left until the end of the season. I will do an updated chip strategy video, which will have a little bit more in-depth and the probabilities for each of these teams for blanks and doubles moving forward. But in this particular video, we're just going to have a look at what we know is confirmed right now. So in game week 25, we know that Liverpool and Aston Villa are going to double. They're the only two teams that are doubling this week. Everyone else will have their normal fixtures. The same through game weeks 26 to 28. Everyone's just going to have their normal fixtures. But now we need to start thinking about game week 29, because we know that 4 teams are not going to play in game week 29. And that's Liverpool, Aston Villa, Newcastle and Crystal Palace. So if you've got players in those from those teams in your team, they are not going to play in game week 29. So you need to start thinking about whether you're going to free hit that week, whether you're going to just use transfers to try and manage it so that you can still put out a full team in game week 29. The other bit that we found out with the FA Cup results is that in game week 34, when the FA Cup semi-finals will take place, we now know that Liverpool and Tottenham and Chelsea-Everton will go ahead, as all of those teams have been knocked out of the FA Cup. Now, of course, there are other Premier League teams that are knocked out of the FA Cup at the moment, but their opponents are still in the FA Cup. So there's a chance for all of those other teams to currently not play. So the only confirmed games for game week 34 are Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea and Everton. So what we don't know at the moment is when the Newcastle Crystal Palace game will be rescheduled, and we do expect that to likely to be in game week 33, but we don't know that yet. There's been no announcements on that as well, and we won't really know until game week 30 what's going to happen with the rest of the FA Cup quarterfinals as to who's going to exactly play in game week 34. By the end of game week 28, we'll have a better picture, because the fifth round would have been played, so we will start to know if there's a few more teams that have been knocked out, what that impacts. But right now, these are the confirmed fixtures that we know. So game week 25 double, game week 29 blanks, and game week 34, these are the teams that are going to play. So they've got a grey background, so not the teams that are going to blank. All of the other teams currently could potentially blank in game week 34. hopefully that's clear. I will be doing a chip strategy video, which will give a little bit more update on some of the variations for that as well. So we know that Liverpool and Aston Villa are going to double in game week 25, so their assets are going to be great. We also know they're going to blank in game week 29. So while they get the extra fixture now, it will cause your team more troubles when you get to game week 29, unless you're going to free hit. So these are some of the other teams that have good fixture runs between now and game week 29 as well. So first up is Bournemouth. They're a really good run of form at the moment. Obviously, there's a lot of talk about their midfielders, and we'll play a game of Would You Rather with the Bournemouth team coming up. But if you look at their fixtures, Southampton away this week, Wolves at home, Brighton away, Tottenham away, Brentford at home. All of those have porous defences, so you would hope that you get some good attacking returns over those next five. And then again, if you look at some of their attacks, Southampton is not great. Brighton is very hit and miss, and obviously the others do have some strong attacking options, so maybe a potential couple of clean sheets in the next five as well. Other options, of course, are Brentford with West Ham, Leicester and Everton in their next three, then Aston Villa and Bournemouth, so they are playing in game week 29. Crystal Palace have a really good run at the moment. Everton, Fulham, Aston Villa and Ipswich, but they blank in 29. So just be careful if you're looking at someone like a Munoz, if you're looking at an Eze or a Mateta. They've got some good fixtures, but remember they won't play in game week 29. And then Arsenal were high up on the fixture ticker list, but if you look at the fixtures here, obviously the next two are great. Leicester away, West Ham at home, look like good fixtures. Nottingham Forest away looks like a tough fixture at the moment, obviously the form that Nottingham Forest are in. Man United and Chelsea are both in poor form at the moment, so could be good options. But also the Arsenal attack has been absolutely decimated with Jesus, Saka, Martinelli and now Havertz all out. There's not a lot of attacking options to really choose from left in that Arsenal team, and how's that going to impact their ability to create and score goals, obviously bringing in players that maybe aren't usual regular first teams as well. But let me know in the comments below, guys, is there anyone that I'm missing that's got a really good fixture run between now and game week 29? So this is a game that we played a little bit earlier on in the season as well. It's a section I like to call Would You Rather. We're going to look at some different options and then we're going to rank them, whether or not we should be making those moves as well. These are some of the key topic points that I'm seeing across Twitter or X and on other content creators channels as well. So without further ado, let's play Would You Rather. First up, Bournemouth. We've seen their fixture run. They know they're in a really good form at the moment. They're scoring a huge amount of goals. They've been decimated by injuries, but somehow they've just found this perfect rotation for them at the moment in terms of their team on that. So let's start with the midfielders, and of course the big talking point is Kluivert, Otara or Semenyo. Which one of these do you go for? In my opinion, I've put them in the order that I would buy them. So I've already bought Justin Kluivert, and the reason behind that is that he's on penalties. So he's always got a chance to get a goal from a penalty. He also takes the in-swinging corners as well, so he's got more attacking threat coming in from there. And his overall underlying stats are great, partially because he's on penalties. If you take away the penalty options, he's actually below Otara. But I just think he is also the most expensive. He's 5.9 million, so that is something to consider. So if you've got the budgets there. Now, all of these are great options. Next up for me is Dango Otara. He's the cheapest one there. He's the biggest differential at 1.9% owned. His underlying stats are looking great, and that's because he's playing out of position. So he is now playing as the number 9 for Bournemouth. Obviously, if Evan Nilsson or one of the other strikers come back, he could potentially lose that place. But right now, he's playing out of position. He's getting lots of opportunities. He's scoring goals. So therefore, with his price and his ownership, it makes him a fantastic option, and which is why I put him just behind Justin Kluivert. And then Antoine Semenyo was fantastic last year. He's been great this year. He's at that 5.7 million range. He's 7.9% owned. So he is a differential. He's under 10% owned. His underlying stats are great. But if you just look at the form of the three, he's significantly less returns in the last couple of weeks. Now, of course, that's because Justin Kluivert has had a hat-trick or two hat-tricks in the last couple of weeks. Tara's recently got a couple of goals as well. So the form for the other two is slightly higher, which is why I've put them. But if you wanted Semenyo, I think he's the strongest for minutes moving forward. He's the less likely to be rotated when other players come back in. And then if we do the same with the defenders, really just depends on money. I went with Milos Kourkos a while back because I saw these fixtures coming up. He is now 5.0. Huijsen is only 4.4, so the 0.6 saving is massive in your team if you are looking at other transfers as well. Huijsen actually gets more bonus points than Kourkos. Kourkos does get much further forward if you look at the heat maps between the two. So I already have Kourkos in my team. I actually think Huijsen is probably the better option in the short term. So certainly someone to be looking at. Apologies, I can see that the expected goals and expected assists for Huijsen are incorrect on this. I will update those in the video in the comments below. But I just think that Dean Huijsen is probably the better option given the price and the ownership and the percentage, of course, for clean sheets is the same for both. Next up in the game of would you rather Alexander Isak or Ollie Watkins? Now, right now, the obvious option would be, say, Alexander Isak. He's in much better form. He scored almost twice as many goals as Ollie Watkins this season with the same number of assists. His underlying stats are better. The only reason that people are considering this move right now is the upcoming fixtures. First and foremost, Ollie Watkins has a double this week. So he's got Ipswich at home and then Liverpool at home. So 2 games in 1 week. And we've seen what that means for teams, for like Beto, for example, who got, I think, 20 points this week, and what that means for someone like Salah, who got 29 points. It's there's great options when you're playing 2 game weeks in a row. So he's actually in the next 4 game weeks, he's playing 5 games, whereas Alexander Isak is only playing 4. They both blank in game week 29, and as if you're looking to wildcard in either game week 30 or 31, you could just use Ollie Watkins for the short term, bench him in game week 29, or of course you would just use a transfer to move either of these out. I'm really tempted. I don't want to lose Isak. I dropped Wood last week to free up money to bring in Moyes, and then Wood went and got a 17-pointer. He got a hat-trick. I just feel that if I drop Alexander Isak as well, I've got money tied up in him. So I got Isak when I think he was 8.9 million. So he's now 9.5. And for those that are new to the channel, you don't maintain or retain all of that value. You only get half of it. So if I sold Isak, it would actually only be for like 9.2 or 9.3. So if I wanted to buy him back, I'm going to lose 0.3 million later on down the line. So that is a consideration for me, but I just like the idea. If I go to Ollie Watkins, I can have 3 triplers from Villa and 3 from Liverpool. So I'd have the 6 triple again this week, like I did last week, and that served really well for me as well. Also, the fixture for Ollie Watkins over the next 3 are easier. Yes, he's got Liverpool in the double, but he's also got Ipswich in that week as well. Then he's got Chelsea at home, who are not in great form at the moment. They are conceding goals, they're not scoring lots. So as an attacker, there's certainly options there for him. Alexander Isak has Nottingham Forest, who have really good defensive stats this year. Then Isak has Liverpool away, and of course Liverpool are the second best defensive stats in the league at the moment behind Arsenal. And then Ollie Watkins is playing Crystal Palace. Now they've got a much better run of form in the second half of this season. They're starting to find a bit of form, but certainly could see Watkins getting a goal against Palace. And then last one is Brentford away. And again, Brentford have maybe kept 1 clean sheet all season. I've had Flecken all season and I can't remember any clean sheets from him. Maybe when he was on my bench, but there's just not a lot of strength in that Brentford defence. So there's certainly options there for Watkins at home. And then obviously Isak would have West Ham away. So a great fixture for him in terms of potential getting goal scoring. So if I'm going to do Watkins to Isak, it would be for -4 this week because I'm using my free transfer on my assistant manager. I am really tempted. It's an extra game. The fixtures are a bit better, and I would look at wildcarding after the blank in game week 29, so whether it's 30 or 31, depending on when fixtures get announced. So therefore I could bring Isak back in for his good run of fixtures from game week 30 onwards. I do lose 0.3 in value, but obviously I could gain some of that back if Ollie Watkins starts scoring. It's an interesting one. It's really, really tight. I'm going to leave it right up until the deadline because Ollie Watkins is still yellow flagged and I need updates from Emery whether or not he's fit to play. If he is fit, I think I might just do it. I'm going to take the -4, take the punt. I may live to regret that. I've been quite safe with my decisions this year, but this one feels like it could be a good upside given the fact that he's only 17% owned and Isak is nearly 60% owned. So it could hurt me, massively hurt my rank if Isak continues to score against Man City, Forest and Liverpool and Ollie Watkins blanks. But I just feel the fixture's a little bit easier. He's got an extra fixture. So yeah, I'm sitting on the fence, guys. If Ollie Watkins is fit, I'll most likely make that transfer. If he's not, then I'll just stick with Isak and be happy. Next up, let's have a look at some of the captain's choices for game week 25. Now this one should be a little bit easier. Obviously, Mo Salah should be everyone's captain choice. There's a bit of a no-brainer. He's on an incredible run of form at the moment, scoring goals, getting assists, getting bonus points. He's got another 2 games compared to most having only 1. He's a fantastic triple captain choice. Again, for those that don't have any chips active, just remember that if you got your assistant manager chip active, you cannot use triple captain at the same time, so you won't be able to use it on Salah this week. Next up is Cody Gakpo. Wolves at home, Aston Villa away. Both of them have poor defences at the moment, so I think in terms of attacking returns, there's some good options there for that as well. And then next up, you've got Ollie Watkins and Morgan Rogers. We spoke a little bit about Ollie already. Morgan Rogers has been teasing us with a hat-trick in the Champions League, scoring goals in the FA Cup, but then giving us 1 point in the Premier League for the last couple of weeks. So I understand those that are not looking to bring him in. He's already in my team, but there is, of course, a chance for him to be scoring goals, especially against Ipswich, and then obviously potentially against Liverpool as well. So for me, Mo Salah, absolute obvious choice. Good luck to any of those that go elsewhere. So now we're going to have a quick look at my team selection and headaches for game week 25. If you've got this far into the video, please do give it a like, write a comment below, let me know what you're doing. How did you do in the double game week? But then also hit subscribe if you're new around here. As I mentioned earlier in the video, I'm ever so close to hitting 300 subscribers, which would be amazing in my first season. So if you are new, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell as well. There'll be lots of new videos coming up talking about chip strategies, reviewing the assistant manager options and other chips options moving forward, as well, of course, of any updates on injuries and players as they come out as well. But without further ado, let's have a quick look at my new team. So first up, game week 24 was great for me, partially due to a last-minute goal by Tarkowski, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But 131 points in the double was amazing. Of course, I had 6 doublers, which really helped. So let's just have a quick look through. Pickford in goal got 10 points across the 2 games. Mikolenko 7, Hall 1, Alexander-Arnold 7, Palmer 6, Rogers 1, Salah 58 points. 58 points, and for those that triple captain, it was 87, which is insane. Imagine having one player scoring 87 points in 1 week. Salah is just breaking the game this year. And Bremo with 2 points, a bit disappointing. Everyone brought him in for the good run of fixtures, and then of course Tottenham win 2-0. Then up front, Gakpo with 7 points. Isak with 2 points and Jimenez with 8 points. Obviously, I dropped Wood, Ilanga, and Aina last week, so there was huge amounts of points lost there, but that was all recovered due to Moyes getting 22 points. So he got 12 points in the first game when Everton won 4-0. A little bit of a surprise. We were hoping for the win, but expecting the 4 goals was an absolute bonus, and the clean sheet. And then, of course, the last minute equaliser from Tarkowski had a massive swing for players that versus those that went for Arne Slot. Before that goal, Arne Slot was on for 10 points in game week 2, and Moyes was on for 2 points. That swing moved Arne Slot down to 5 points, and David Moyes up to 10 points in game week 2, so in the second game. So that was a huge swing for that because of the table bonus coming in. It moved me from being on a small green arrow of being 47,000 up to a big green arrow of plus 200,000 places up. So just that assistant manager table bonus made a massive difference to my personal rankings. So over 200k rise this week, another green arrow. Really happy. I did take a -4, but even with that, I still got a 200,000 rank rise, which is amazing. I've got 1 free transfer and 0.4 million in the bank. So let's have a quick look at what I'm going to do for game week 25. So currently, as it stands, game week 25, got Moyes still as my assistant manager. I have not made any transfers this week. I do have 1 free transfer, 0.4 million in the bank. I've got Pickford in goal versus Crystal Palace. I do have Flecken as my backup keeper, but he is injured at the moment. Didn't play in the last game week. He's got West Ham a slightly better fixture, but I can't play him this week. Then I've got Kirkes against Southampton, Gabriel versus Leicester, so hopefully a couple of clean sheets there. Trent Alexander-Arnold, whose yellow flag has been removed, so hopefully he will be good to go. He only played 30 minutes. He came on as a sub in the second half, but he's got the double this week. Palmer has got Brighton away. Rodgers with the double, which is really nice. Salah, of course, with the double with the captain's armband again. Umbremo, West Ham away. Clivert, Southampton away. Gakpo with the double, and then currently Isak away to Man City. Then on the bench, as I mentioned, Flecken, Jimenez against Forest at home, Hall against City away, and then Mikolenko against Crystal Palace away. So overall, the team looks in a really good position there. Obviously, there's some tough fixtures there for Newcastle. But outside of that, I'd be really happy with just playing this team as it was. So let's have a look at some of my options for game week 25. So quick look at my preferred assistant manager options, and there's 2 routes that I can go. The first route is to take the safe route, move to Arne Slot this week for the double, Wolves at home, Aston Villa away, and then move to Arteta in game week 26. The high upside route is to move to Emery this week, so he's also got the double, Ipswich at home, and then Liverpool at home. So 2 home games, very much like the Everton option that with Moyes last week. You get hopefully the banker in game week 1 in the first game of the game week, and then the potential for table bonus in the second game as well. We know that Villa can be really good at home, but their defence has been absolutely decimated at the moment. So it just feels like it's a slightly weaker double than it was for Moyes. And then I looked at game week 26, and there are only 5 teams that have table bonus, and none of them look exciting for me. None of them look like there's real opportunities. So with that, I would just likely be moving to Arteta. Got West Ham at home. Looks like a good fixture. We've got, as an Arsenal fan, I know we have a good historical data against West Ham as well. So I would just particularly go for that and just get the safe one as well. Now, both of those are going to require me to make transfers this week. If I want to go to Arne Slot, because I've already got 3 Liverpool, I will have to move out one of my Liverpool players. And if I want to go to Emery, I don't need to. I could just use the free transfer. I've got the money in the bank as well. So let's have a quick look at what those options look like. So transfer options for game week 25. The first 2 actually require me to take a -4. which I'm okay to do this week. I did it last week, and I think there are potentials for doing that as well. So let's have a look at the first one. If I want to move to Arne Slot, one, I need to free up some money, and two, I need to lose a Liverpool player. So most likely would be Trent Alexander-Arnold, just because he had the yellow flag this week. We're not entirely sure whether he's going to play both games. And also he's a defensive player, so less likely to get attacking points, additional points. So midfielders and forwards traditionally score more than defenders in that as well. So I would remove Alexander-Arnold, bring in Dean Huijsen, potentially Anthony Robinson from Fulham. That would free up more than enough money to move from Moyes to Arne Slot. Huijsen's fixtures look great. Southampton away, Wolves at home, Brighton away. They also play in game week 29, so it would ease up some of that challenge of what to do in game week 29, whether a free hit or I would have an extra playing player because I wouldn't have Trent in my team. The next option, and one I've already talked about in detail, is to move from Alexander Isak to Ollie Watkins. Now, of course, Watkins is yellow flagged at the moment, and I am waiting for the Unai Emery press conference to let me know whether Watkins is fit. If he is, I am tempted to do this move from -4. This would then give me 6 doublers again for game week 25. So 3 from Liverpool and 3 from Aston Villa, because I'd have Rodgers, Watkins and Unai Emery. So I think that's a really nice option for me. Watkins gets the extra fixture over Alexander Isak. I do like that. Again, it is dependent on the injury updates for Watkins moving forward. The last option for me is just to go David Moyes to Unai Emery. Use my 1 free transfer. I've got the money in the bank. I get the extra fixture. And then obviously I can look at moving Unai Emery on after the week after in game week 26. So right now, probably just do option 3 until I get an update on Ollie Watkins, and I'll make a decision just before the deadline whether I'm going to move Isak to Watkins to take the extra fixture and some of the easier fixtures leading up to game week 29. But let me know in the comments below. Am I mad moving Isak to Watkins? Which of these options would you go for? Would you take Huijsen over Robinson, given the fixture run over the next 5? The other option is to potentially move Gakpo out instead of Alexander-Arnold, and go to, with the money available, I would be able to potentially go to, I think, Wissa or Cunha. I can't get to Mateta and I can't get to Chris Wood. I don't have the money available with that downgrade from Gakpo. So that's not really on the radar at the moment, because neither of those two are amazing options moving forward. So as it stands, likely to be option 3 because it's the safest, and then the potential to do option 2, take the -4 and just triple up on Villa for the double. Let me know in the comments below what you'd do. So this is then what my team would look like for game week 25 if I go with option 3. Unai Emery with the double, Pickford, Kirkes, Gabriel, Trent Alexander-Arnold with the double, Palmer, Rodgers with the double, Salah with the double, Umbremo, Kluivert, Gakpo with a double, and then Isak up front. So 5 doublers, no hits taken, 0.1 million in the bank. Feels like a really strong team with good fixtures with some of the single game weeks. So I'm really happy with that as my option right now. Just got to make that final decision on whether I move Isak to Watkins. So once again, everyone, a massive thank you for watching FPL Fanzone. If you've got this far into the video, surely you owe me a like at this point. Hit that subscribe button if you're new around here. As I mentioned, I'm so close to hitting 300. My target was 50 for the first year. I'm going to almost hit 300 with still over 10 game weeks to go. So amazing, massive thank you to everyone. Leave your comments, ask your questions, anything that you want me to answer. I'll come back to you as quickly as I can. Good luck for game week 25, and may all of your arrows be green.